Hey everyone, welcome to
We're watching here. We're watching here.
This is Opinionated Movie Talk with Chris and Perry. My name is Chris Williams. With me today, the Matt Damon to my Seth Rogen, Perry Seibert.
I, that could cut the either way. I think
Yeah,
you're being a little self-effacing there, Chris.
am I? Because I really like Seth Rogen. So
Okay, well, good. Okay,
yeah,
as long as you didn't mean it that way,
yeah,
great.
no, no,
I would be happy to be either of those people.
I,
That works
me,
for me.
me too. I really like Seth Rogen. So yeah, no. Today we are talking uh one of the biggest movies maybe ever made, with the Odyssey, and a much smaller movie with Olivia Wilde's The Invite. I'm really excited to dig into these movies today with you, Perry. How are you doing?
For the middle of July, pretty good. I haven't burned out yet on the summer movie season, which I kind of usually do by this point. Even if Supergirl was terrible, it didn't make me want to give up on summer movies altogether. And I'm maybe because I'm refreshed after a lovely trip across the pond. I was in Scotland for a week and
Nice.
a half a little while ago and had a wonderful time with friends and family.
Very nice. I'm also not burned out on summer movies yet. I didn't hate Supergirl, but gosh, I can't remember anything else that happened in it. Like after Superman kind of made me really excited about, oh, this is something that feels fresh and new. This was, oh yeah, no, I've seen Guardians of the Galaxy. I've seen Mad Max, and I didn't need that. I forgot about it
I'll find another
quickly
day to
after.
complain about Craig Gillespie's entire filmography. So
I like Lars and the Real Girl. I'll go to bat for that one.
okay,
Okay, all right,
I
I'll
don't.
go to bat. I'll
It's
go to
it
bat
is.
hard for that one, but
It's fine. I don't dislike it. I don't dislike many of his movies, but I think they're all man, that's a guy who has just every film feels like, oh yeah, I know exactly who you're copying to do this, and it's not as good as the original.
oh, 100%.
They're
Yeah,
all that every day.
yeah.
It's not the same filmmaker, which is why he's kind of interesting. But boy, he's I'm yeah, I'm no huge James Gunn fan, but he's no James Gunn.
Nope, nope, nope. He's not. He's not. So we've survived Supergirl. I think we both were able to avoid Minions, which in my household is quite the
Yes, we did.
feat. So
Fair,
I think we just got a Spider-Man, and then you get the kind of weird stuff in
which I'm
August.
not gonna bother. Yeah, I'll have no problem letting Spider-Man fly by. That's
I
not a
love
problem for me.
I love Spider-Man. I'm a sucker for Spider-Man. So, but I'm looking forward to the two we're going to talk today. I
Me
think
too.
it's
Me
gonna be a
too.
fun conversation. But first, what have you been watching otherwise?
Well, as I said, I flew to Scotland, Chris. So I had many hours on a plane,
Mm-hmm.
and I have found when you fly at this point in the year, get a lot of opportunity to catch up on some things that I might not have seen in theaters, and
Okay.
so and stuff I might not try unless I was trapped in a plane seat for 6 hours and thought, okay, I guess if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this now. So I would like to spend a couple of minutes talking about the box office phenomenon that was Michael.
Oh gosh. Okay. I have not seen it, so I am very curious.
It is not good.
I
Let's be
have
real
heard.
clear. It is so not good. And it's so not good in ways both obvious and not so obvious. It is so not good because it is just another music biopic. I mean,
Mhm.
they don't even have the decency to try to do anything with it. This is the kind of film that Walk Hard should have made it impossible to make at this point in our
Yeah.
lives. And it doesn't. It's exactly one of those movies. Uh, it's remarkably one dimensional. You always have to question whenever there's a biopic and one of the secondary people in the person's life is one of the producers of the movie and is portrayed in the movie. That should be, these are all warning signs for you. The only sort of interesting thing about it is the performance by Michael's cousin or nephew, sorry, as
Mhm.
as him. And that's interesting, genuinely. I'm not being dismissive by saying that until three huge scenes in the last 45 minutes of the movie, which are full performance things. Where it's like, well, okay, he's really good as Michael. He can't sing and dance like Michael. Why am I watching you do this? This means nothing to me. You're wasting my time. And so then what I figured out, because Did you read about Bubbles? Do you understand how much Bubbles there is in this movie? Because there's a lot of Bubbles in this movie.
I know who Bubbles is, and I am surprised there's any Bubbles in
Oh,
this
so
movie.
much Bubbles.
Wow.
So much Bubbles. And I'm pretty sure CGI'd Bubbles at that. I'm pretty positive. This is not like they hired a real monkey to do some work. They like put CGI faces on the monkey because the monkey reacts appropriately.
Oh,
It's really
does he
bizarre
mug?
and really weird. And so about 30 seconds after they introduced this to the movie, here's how I enjoyed the movie, Chris. I pretended the entire time that was Robbie Williams. That
I
was
was
the
just
only
about to
way I
ask.
could get through this movie. It was
I
the
was
only way I could get through this movie.
I was literally about to ask. They could have
Yeah,
just gotten Robbie Williams for this from Better
that's
Man, but
all I could think of. And I didn't even see that movie because I really don't care for Robbie Williams in general anyway. I don't think it's a crime that I haven't seen Better Man. But yes, Michael is awful.
I've heard.
A giant waste of some talented people's times. Although I will say, truthfully, I don't I don't care for the director as a whole. I'll be very honest. I think his work is pedestrian at best and always too slick. This is really bad. This is a genuinely bad movie from a director who supposedly has some talent.
This is Antoine Fuqua, right?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
yeah, yeah. I'm not a. There's certain ones I find entertaining, but I've never
Right.
understood.
I get it, but I find him remarkably overrated. Uh and this is I don't know what would compel someone to do this other than the fact that the super serious film that they made that was supposed to get Will Smith an Oscar was buried, and so he needed to work quickly. I don't understand what this was about.
It was about making money because they're
It's
making a second.
it's and that honestly might be better.
Might be the more interesting movie.
Absolutely. I would sit through the second one on a plane too. I'll be honest. I would check that out.
All right.
Chris, what have you been watching?
Oh, well, Perry, I've been going through the movies of summer 1986 for my newsletter, and I've been having a fun time with that.
86.
86, that was
Okay.
Cobra. That was Ferris
Ugh.
Bueller's Day Off.
Okay.
Um, that was this weekend I'm going to be showing my son Aliens, and I haven't seen that in a while.
Mm,
But it was Big Trouble in Little China,
okay.
which I do enjoy. I was going to talk about the Harold Ramis movie Club Paradise, but I have forgotten about that movie in the week since I watched it, just like
It's not
everyone has
good.
forgotten it exists. But I did realize I finally crossed a bucket list movie off my list.
Ooh.
So I
Ooh.
am I obviously we have talked about this many times. We were talking about this before we got on the call. I am a huge Jim Henson nerd. I love the Muppets. I love I love the work of Jim Henson.
Yes, you
Oddly
do.
enough, though, I have not seen his non-Muppet work. I think I've seen Dark Crystal years ago, but I have not come back to that. Um,
Hmm.
and until this summer, I had not seen Labyrinth.
I
Um,
I took your baby.
I, so I had I had some time a few weeks ago. I decided to give Labyrinth a whirl, and this is a weird movie. This is
Yeah.
this
Oh
is
yeah.
this is a weird experience. There is stuff in this movie that I think is visually amazing. Like the puppeteering work in this is so interesting. Jim Henson creates this whole little fantasy world, and there is a cave made up of hands that make faces that is really cool. And there are some like puppet creations that are really big and fun looking. Um, but man, this movie also is weird as hell.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
stars Jennifer Connelly as kind of a bratty teenager who wishes that her brother would get kidnapped by goblins. Her infant brother would be get kidnapped by goblins, and it happens. And so she has to head off into this labyrinth to find the Goblin King, played by David Bowie, to defeat him, or to get him back. I guess she doesn't have to defeat him. This is really, I think Jim Henson by this point, he was frustrated with being the kids' entertainer. He wanted to show that he could do things that were a little more serious. I think this is, though, from what I remember, a little lighter than Dark Crystal, which is deadly serious in many places. And this is kind of a mix of, like, there are some weird passages in this movie that feel like, oh, this would fit into a David Bowie episode of The Muppet Show.
Yes.
He has a scene where he dances around singing about a baby and tossing the baby up in the air while all these little goblins prance about. I'm like, that is a Muppet Show scene.
Yep.
And then it gets also just really weird and icky in places. There's a lot of trolls just standing around peeing in this movie. There
Yeah.
is a bog that is full of buttholes. I'm sorry to sound crude on a family podcast, but
Is it a
that's
family
what's it.
podcast?
I, the bog of buttholes does not get talked about nearly as much as David Bowie's crotch, which
Right,
is
right.
also very prominent. I
Well,
think it's
just David being David. Yeah.
it's really interesting to see Jim Henson kind of attempt to tell a story about a girl who's on the cusp of womanhood and kind of wrestling with that area of giving up childish things. But I wish maybe he had had women write the script for him and co-direct for him, because sometimes it feels pretty icky. There is a weird subplot where the Goblin King is in love with a 16-year-old girl, and yeah, this was not a movie that bored me. And there's stuff, like I said, that is it's really interesting to
Yeah.
see. I think anytime I see special effects that are tactile, like it really impresses me, which we will get into in just a little bit. And there's some really impressive puppet stuff, and I like to think maybe had he lived longer, Jim Henson would have found a way to kind of crack that aesthetic while also getting audiences involved, but audiences stayed away from this. Yeah, it is a weird movie. It is a interesting movie. If you're a fan of Jim Henson, it's worth watching for the puppetry, but it is weird and doesn't kind of all come together. David Bowie is also I can't tell if he's invested in this. He's having a good time, but I don't think he's giving a good performance. He's giving an entertaining one,
Well,
but
I don't know what. Yeah, I don't know what a good performance of that
yeah,
is.
yeah.
Bowie's far from the problem with this movie. And to be fair, everything he says is absolutely true. But although people stayed away, this film's had a cult following
Oh
since
yeah,
it came
yeah,
out. I mean, this is not like one that was buried forever and then rediscovered. This has had a following
yeah.
as long as I've been around and coherent and knowing things about movies. Yeah, this is a movie that is beloved in its own way, which is yeah ridiculously odd and kind of great. It is. I think we've talked about my very strong distaste for Jennifer Connelly on screen, and so the less said about a 16-year-old, the better. But yes, Bowie's the reason to see it. If you're not a Henson acolyte, which
Mhm.
we both are, and I don't love the movie. I would rather watch it again than Dark Crystal again.
I could see that, and I think had I grown up with it,
But
maybe
that's
I'd
just
feel
me.
differently. Um, but yeah, it's interesting. Oddly enough, the thing I did find out is last year apparently they announced they're going to do a sequel to this, directed by Robert Eggers of all people, which I could get behind. That could be kind of interesting. His werewolf movie looks kind of fun.
I whatever Eggers wants to do, I'm for now interested.
Yeah,
I hope Werewolf works way better than the Dracula movie, but okay, we'll give it a shot. Okay.
yeah. But that's Labyrinth. I mean, many of you have probably seen it, and if you love it, great. I'm happy for you. I think if you grew up with this, it's a movie that I can see why it would stick with you. But having seen it at 47, I'm like, yeah, oh, okay, I saw it. I don't have to watch it again, but
I'm happy
I'm
you got
glad for
around
people who
to it.
did. Yeah,
You might decide one day, be like, you know what? Maybe again.
maybe
Maybe.
we could. What
Sure.
else you got for me, Perry?
I happened to stumble across while figuring out what to watch one night on the Criterion Channel. I didn't know it had shown up there. It's a movie I dearly love that I don't think I've ever talked about with you, let alone here or anywhere else. Um, Ulu Grossbard's Straight Time from 1978, a Dustin Hoffman film it's not widely. I mean, it's by the people who know it. We know it. It's a film that's adapted from a novel by Eddie Bunker, who is probably best known to the world as Mr. Blue from Reservoir Dogs.
Mm.
Eddie Bunker was an actual he served time and uh, was part of the correctional population for a while, and wrote really great pulpy books about it. And Straight Time is about a criminal played by Dustin Hoffman who opens the film getting out of jail, and it's about his time on parole when he's out. And it is basically a very 70s straight up character study. It's not a heist film. It's not a plot film. It's about how hard it is for this guy to get to change or do anything, while at the same time being crystal clear that he's 50% of the problem. Yes, the circumstances are unfortunate. The system is depersonalizing it always, but he doesn't do anything to help himself at all. And it's a great 70s character study for that very reason, with a wonderful Shaggy performance by Dustin Hoffman. Late 70s Hoffman basically being like, I'm sure you take this part if you're Dustin Hoffman in part because this is the part Al Pacino would win an Oscar for, so I better play this. But he's Dustin Hoffman. He's not trying to be Al Pacino here. And he's wonderful. I believe it's basically the first large part Teresa Russell ever had in a movie. She's wonderful as the love interest in the movie. Oh, so many great faces are in this movie. Harry Dean Stanton's in this movie. Eddie Bunker shows up as well as an actor in it. Emmett Walsh is in this movie. Gary Busey is in this movie. Jake Busey is in this movie, for that matter.
Family affair.
Kathy Bates.
Wow.
Ulu Grossbard was a wonderful theater director, and so knew really good actors and gave many actors their shots at things. I've always loved this movie. I think I'd seen it. I'd most recently, I don't know, maybe 5-6 years ago, and I don't know how it was not on Criterion. I went through my list. I was, well, I've never watched this here. But man, it's there now. It's still there. Very rarely do I make so strong a recommendation during this segment of the show, Chris, but please, if you've never seen Straight Time and you have the Criterion channel at your disposal, please give that a watch. It's a wonderful, wonderful 70s movie.
We'll see what we can do. I have
How
another
about you,
one,
Chris? What
don't
else
I?
have you
I
been
do have
watching?
another one, don't I? So I'm gonna talk about a movie that's currently in theaters right now. Right now, I know people are heading to the theaters to see the Odyssey, and they are going to still see Minions, even though life is about making good choices. They they're going to see The Invite, which we're going to talk about in a little bit, which spoiler alert, I might think is one of the better comedies of the year. But if you're looking for something a little different, something that will make you laugh without having to think or feel too much, I would recommend the movie Gail Daughtry and the Celebrity Sex Pass. This is the story of a girl who is on a quest to pick up a pound of ham. This stars Zoe Deutsch as Gail Daughtry, who is a young Kansas girl. She has never left her hometown, and one day her and her boyfriend are talking about celebrity sex passes, and shortly after she finds him engaged in a compromising position with a very famous actress whose identity I won't spoil here. So she sets off to Hollywood with her buddy to find her celebrity sex pass, which is John Hamm, and do the deed with him. This is from David Wayne, who has done Wet Hot American Summer, Role Models. They came together. He is, I know for many people, an acquired taste. I happen to really like Wet Hot American Summer. I really like They Came Together. This movie was my jam. This is a
Hit your
this
sweet spot.
it is a extremely silly movie that is just full of dumb jokes that are hammered home to the point of absurdity. There is a scene where someone gets their foot slammed in a door and it repeats it like 20 times to the point where it's not funny and then it's funny again, just like Sideshow Bob stepping on rakes. There are really just dumb throwaway lines, like a character talking about the time they had been on a Western ranch before, and they clarify, well, it was for an episode of The Love Boat, and they're like, what? Oh, it was a bottle episode. And it, it, it is a very silly, absurd spoof of movies in general, just high concept movies that is packed with weird cameos. There, I don't know how to describe this except for if you like what David Wayne did, what they came together, and what had American Summer. It is just this celebration of absurdity, of dirty jokes, but all told with people at their like most annoyingly happy. Um, the highlight for this is to track down John Hamm. Of course, you got to have John Slattery, who they find living in an alley because he hasn't worked in 10 years and has taught himself to kill. And he's the highlight of the movie. But yeah, without saying too much, I can just say if that brand of really absurd, dumb humor is your thing, I had a riot with this. There are just so many dumb throwaway jokes. Joe Latrulio comes in and plays a hitman who I found very funny. Um, this was also written by Ken Marino, who plays a paparazzi who is disgraced and needs his candid shot of John Hamm. And I don't know. I just like the sensibility for it. I don't even know that I can describe what their sensibility is, but yeah, if you like Wet Hot American Summer and they came together, I highly recommend this
Or
one.
if you go all the way back to the state where they all
Yes, yes.
started.
And it is really like all those state people have cameos. Like even the people who you would be like are too big for this movie usually come in for a cameo and they don't even comment on it and they don't even have a line. It's just the joke is they are there. There's also a Penn Jillette cameo in this that is so funny because of how they comment on it in the movie. And it's that kind of comedy. I can't tell you why it's funny. It just made me laugh. And there will also be people who absolutely hate this movie, and I totally get that as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love the kind of comedy you're describing, but not from these guys. I hated the state at the time. David Wayne is my least favorite consistent filmmaker to come out of that group. I've hated most of those actors for a long period of time.
Oh,
Although some of them grow. Ken Marino, I really like this, but I like Joe Latrulio quite often as well. I think Michael Showalter is the far more interesting director to have come out of the state, who's working
oh
consistently,
yeah.
who's going way against type with his next movie, which I've seen that trailer more than any other, it seems, this summer.
What is
But I'm
that one?
excited for it. It's a psychological thriller with Anne Hathaway and Dakota Johnson and and Trip Fontaine. Sorry. Which is looks to be completely unlike anything else he's done. So I'm kind of excited about to see that. Uh, I am sure there's things in there I'd laugh at, and I'm sure I would be counting the minutes for much of it. I hated Wet Hot American
Oh,
Summer.
I love What Hot
I
American
I
Summer.
don't I understand. I love a joke that will not die, but there's something about the way that the state used to do that that drove me insane then and still does, and I never got around to laughing at it. That I can
Uh,
already see the foot being slammed joke. I'm like,
yep.
I don't want to see not. I don't want to see these guys do that joke. I've seen them do that joke. I know they do not do that joke the way I like to see that joke done.
Okay. I totally get that. I have met more people who do not like Wet Hot American Summer than I've met people who do like it. And
Uh,
so I totally get it.
but to be fair, yes, they came together is actually pretty good.
I do like it.
They came together. I do like.
That's still my favorite. And it's largely Paul Rudd and Amy Poehler and Bill Hader.
Yes,
Bill Hader just sells that
yes,
one for me. So
it's yes, it's a very good movie. It's a very
that is
enjoyable movie.
that is Gail Daughtry and the Celebrity Sex Pass. It is in theaters right now, but I think it'll also pop up on streaming fairly soon. We're going to get to the main event right now. We are going to wait. Did we decide we're doing
Whatever you want to do right now, live in the moment. We
live
banned
in
it
the?
back and
Oh
forth.
wow,
Where do you want to go with?
this is pressure. This is pressure. But let's start with since we just talked about a comedy. Let's talk about another comedy playing right across the hall right now. That is Olivia Wilde's The Invite,
All
starring
right.
Olivia Wilde, Seth Rogen, Ed Norton, and Penelope Cruz. Olivia Wilde and Seth Rogen play a married couple who he comes home from work one day. She reveals to him that their upstairs neighbors are coming over for dinner that night. She has made a very elaborate meal, and he is very shocked by this information that they are coming down. But he's also kind of happy because he has some things he's wanted to say to them for quite a while. And things take a turn when the couple comes over, and it's a little awkward. And they also
It's not a
learn
little awkward.
not a little
It's a
awkward.
lot of
It's pretty
awkward.
awkward. But it gets even more awkward and more interesting when they learn the couple is a little more open than they might have assumed their neighbors would be. And so I think with that, we can just say it's an awkward, interesting evening that reveals a lot about these two relationships. And
Yes, that's exactly what it is.
I was a big fan of Olivia Wilde's first movie as a director, Booksmart. I did not see Don't Worry, Darling, because I had been warned away from it by many, many people. Um,
Including me.
but I will say I loved The Invite. This is one of my favorite movies this year. I think it is a very smartly written, very awkward and often uncomfortable and often very funny look at long-term relationships and the resentments and the regrets and the fatigue and the self-loathing that often comes into long relationships, and that particularly come to the surface when you get to see a couple who is you feel is doing it better than you. um I like all these actors. I like all these actors in this. I think Seth Rogen is one of my favorite people to watch on screen. He is just in recent years as he's kind of gone away from just the schlubby Judd Apatow type roles to be, a little more introspective, a little more serious. Sometimes I think he gives a very funny performance that at times also goes a lot more serious than we usually see from him. I think Ed Norton is always great, but particularly when he is playing a smug asshole. And he is so much fun playing a very smug, very strange, but very, I don't want to say sensitive, but very, he wants to appear very sensitive guy. I thought he was very fun.
Hmm.
I think Penelope Cruz is really good in this, but Olivia Wilde is an actress who is just, I've never disliked her. I've never taken much notice of her in other movies though. Like she's been there, she's been fine. But I thought she really revealed a talent for really kind of just really great facial comedy in this movie. She has so many great reaction shots, but also a very surprisingly complex and nuanced performance from her. I really liked this movie. What did you think, Perry?
Yeah, I this is the kind of movie I am prone to loving.
I
This
knew
is
it would
this is
be.
for good act. This is the best trailer I've seen all year. If the definition is do I want to see this movie?
Mhm.
This trailer made me want to see this movie. And it gives away exactly what it should give away. It's a really smart trailer in a whole lot of ways. And so yes, you trap me in one room with four people who are talking and talking very entertainingly. I am there. Uh, about 10 minutes in, I went, okay, this is Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf. Not just in the fact that we have two couples having a night of soul and truth bearing, but like down to like it felt like she had really studied that movie. And I was very happy to find out later in an interview that yes, that's exactly the
Mhm.
film she sat down and templated from. I don't want to say ripped off because this is not Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf. Let's be really clear. I'm not saying it's a copy of that movie in any way. She just chose the right film to strike inspiration for how to make a single set continue to look new and continue to look interesting without being really showy about it. uh yes, a lot of very interesting camera angles chosen throughout the movie
Yeah.
to keep you visually uh uh to keep people together thematically in interesting ways. It's a well-directed movie. And it's a beautifully directed movie with the performers. Yes, all four of them are excellent. All four of them get to give really wonderful three-dimensional performances, and you don't think that's going to happen early in the movie.
Mhm.
um I don't disagree with a thing you say about this, other than I actually don't think that I think you take asshole baggage with Edward Norton in with you. I don't think he's playing an asshole here. I think he's really likable from go. He's trying to be a better person, as you find out. You find out where he is and what that career
That
has
is
come
true.
from. He's not. They are. He is. You realize he's not as together as he appears to be throughout, but he's not a bad guy at any point in this. He's almost the only one who isn't. Like, like
Yeah.
of the characters, he's the only one who is like truly trying to be the best person he can be. Uh, I think Norton is cold. We're used to a very cold Edward Norton on screen, and so to see him not be that was a joy, because he is such a wonderful and likable presence on screen, and he's always been an actor who is completely unafraid to be hateable and
Mhm.
detestable on screen, and so to watch him play somebody who's for an actor who doesn't whose first instinct is not to win the audience's sympathies, it's fun to watch him play somebody who is looking to be well liked by everybody around him, and not out of and for reasons that we get to, which is great. I talked far too much about him. I don't think he's the. I think they're equally great.
They're
All
all
four of them
good.
are wonderful in this movie. Right. I'm not meaning to overpraise him. Just responding to what you had to say about his performance. Penelope Cruz. I is she why is she not in everything? I don't
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't,
I know.
I
I always
don't
ask that.
understand why Penelope Cruz doesn't get so much more work. She's so talented. I've actually always really liked Olivia Wilde on screen. I just I found out how good she was with Drinking Buddies, a film that I think is woefully unappreciated and underrated. A great movie with a fantastic performance from
Hmm.
her, that I strongly recommend if you haven't seen it. It's my favorite film from any of the Mumblecore directors ever.
Oh,
I think
okay.
it's a great movie that does all of that stuff really, really well. Joe Swanberg, it's really good. Uh, so, what is most exciting for me is, yes, she's finally directed a really great movie. I
Hmm.
liked Booksmart. I give Booksmart a lot of credit for being a very good first film.
Yeah.
I don't think it's excellent, but I think it's a very good first film. Don't Worry, Darling um is fascinatingly not good. Like it is a bad movie, but it is made honestly. It's so I'm willing to I was like, I don't blame her. I want to see what she does next. And it was this. She's really good with actors. I would like to
Hmm.
see her continue to work in this vein. This is a rich vein for her to work from. This is a film that got at a lot of the pet themes that have hit her in her first two films, but they aren't dominant. They aren't about those things. She's very much trying to get to the heart of all four of these people. Uh, she let her actors go, and she got to shoot this. I've heard her in interviews say that she was really attracted to this because she could shoot it in sequence, and that's what they did. They shot it in order. And she always wanted to do that, and she's talked about how she really let the actors have as much input as they could possibly have. That there was improv stuff done on set that's in the movie, and it feels like it. It feels like a really entertaining time of watching four really talented actors
Yeah.
play. My only qualm, and this is only a qualm because of how much I truly enjoyed all of this. I am still trying to come to terms with the ending of this movie. For me, I don't. It doesn't. I like the ambiguity of it a
Hmm.
great deal, but I don't know what. I don't have a rewrite in mind. I want something more. I'm trying to be really cagey because I don't want to talk specifically about what goes on in the end of the movie by any means. But the the note that they hit at the end of the movie, pun unintended, is not it does not feel right coming out of what just happened for me. It does not. I need something. I don't know what I want, but I think I want something else from it. I left the theater going, huh, rather than wow, which is a
I
weird feeling after being like, I'm really enjoying this. I'm really enjoying this. It's the exact opposite reaction I had to a film I talked about with you earlier this year, The Drama, where I sat through the drama the whole time going, this is really good if they stick the ending. And they stick the ending. So I walked out of that going, yes, that knew exactly what it was doing. And great. I can't wait to see it a second time. This one I went, oh, uh, mm. I'm not sure that's the note I want to end on. And I'm eager to see it again to see if I feel that way again or if it plays better for me knowing that that's where this is going to end.
I know what you're talking about. It didn't bother me, but I think even in the moment, there was part of me going, is this better if it ends 5 minutes earlier, where there seems to be, again, being careful because people probably haven't
Yeah,
seen
I
this
don't want to
yet.
wreck this at all.
There seems to be a also ambiguous ending that is a less comfortable way to end it that I might have preferred but I also didn't mind that this is a little bit of a softer way to end it because I was so tense throughout most of the movie that I was kind of like, okay, I'm okay with this giving me a softer end that is still ambiguous. I would have been really upset if it had gone one direction or another based on where these characters are at the end of it. So I didn't mind it being a bit softer than had they ended it 5 minutes earlier, 2 minutes earlier, where I thought the movie was originally going to end. Just because I liked that decompression. I should note, I saw this in a double feature with Evil Dead Burn. And I did not expect this to be the one that kept me more tense throughout the entire movie.
Yes.
I've been married 15 years. You've been married, I think, longer than me. My wife and I have gone through our ups and downs. There was a lot of times where I watched this movie going, I really like my marriage. like, like
this made you
I,
feel appreciative of your life
I,
choices.
I
Good.
am glad that
Good.
as rough as things have gotten, we're not here. But I also like that it's honest about the fact that, you know, in marriage, you you enter marriage with this idea of what this relationship is going to be and who you're going to be. And then as life happens and choices happens, you lose those very things that made you so excited, 10 years in. And I like the fact that this movie allows these characters to bring that up and come to a place where they have to confront that. I was a little when I first heard about this movie. I think it was it Sundance it debuted at?
Yeah.
Debuted at? Okay. When I first heard about it, I thought, oh, this is just going to be known as the it's pretty much hinted at in every. It's the swingers movie, is what I thought it was going to be, right? Like that's the one joke of the movie,
Right.
and I appreciate that they delve into that very honestly and very awkwardly and very humorously. But that's not the point of the movie. The point of the movie is what this starts to reveal about Olivia Wilde and Seth Rogen's characters and
Yeah.
where they're at in their marriage. And it uses the discomfort of that to then have these uncomfortable realizations that they're beginning to have about their marriage. And I love the fact that I could sit there and feel the tension and feel like, yeah, I mean, this is a 2 hour long version of the dinner party version of The Office, right? Like in many ways, they left that same feeling. I
Oh,
think they
it's
like each other a lot more than Michael and Jan did, but it's
it's
that same feeling where I'm laughing but so tense the entire time.
I laugh more at this. This
Oh
is
yeah,
less painful than that.
yes, yes.
But it is that's only because we don't. Yeah, we can get into that. I don't want to get. Yeah, this would be a long digression. I don't want to get into. Other other than to say, yes, absolutely to what you're saying about the title's really good.
Mm-hmm.
The title is a wonderfully evocative title that has many meanings within the movie and does. I understand what the end of the movie is meant to indicate, or what it leaves you open to being able to interpret. There's two ways to interpret what's going on in the last scene of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
I and I just I've been it's been sticking with me, and I don't know if it's sticking with me because I have a problem with it or because it's supposed to stick with me. So I am excited to watch it again to find out how I feel about this. I'm with you. It's one of the most enjoyable times I'm probably going to have at the movies this year.
I
And that's to say, I don't know if it's going to end up on my top 10 list, but I had a very good time watching it.
It was so nice to sit in a theater of people laughing. That does not happen enough. Even like Gail Daughtry, I saw on a screener. Like I watched it in my living room one afternoon. But to be in a theater of people laughing, there I did have a weird experience. I've never had this. The ticket I bought was for a closed caption movie.
Oh,
Um, so
yeah.
I didn't realize that going in. So like the dialogue's all on the screen, which when you see a comedy, not an ideal way to see it though. Some of those jokes are being stepped on.
Especially one pace that one.
Yep.
That is a rat-a-tat movie.
Yeah. I heard someone theorize that this is also Olivia Wilde's revenge movie to Jason Sudeikis. um, I,
Well, that works better than the last one if that was also the
yeah.
intent of the last one. So, yeah, yeah, let's not gossip.
Yeah. I feel the same way about Booksmart that you do. I laughed a lot at that one. I enjoyed that one. And I had no expectations for it when I saw it. So that was a nice surprise. This is a next level. This is a smart and well blocked movie. Like I know this is based on a play and another film. I never felt overly stage bound. Like it's one location, but she finds her way through there really well.
Yeah, it's filmic. It's film.
Yeah.
It still feels like a play adaptation, and that's not a bad thing in my world. I've also heard, and I didn't bother to look this up. I've heard that like that it's actually been adapted into films in various languages at
Really?
this point. Yeah, that this is not this. There's been more than one remake, one version of the movie told in different countries, which I find
Hmm.
interesting. I'll do some research to see if that's true or not. Maybe what I heard was entirely wrong. But it is the kind of movie that will do that, and that each of them very much puts a very singular stamp on it while still being capturing the original themes and the dynamics in the original play. It's good.
Yeah.
It's really good. Shout out to Rashida Jones and Will McCormick for writing
Yes.
that
Yes.
script.
Very smart script. I also would just say I love seeing Seth Rogen pop up in all these prestige movies, these in projects these days. Like I'm so happy for him. Like I've always loved Seth Rogen, and you know,
Sure.
yeah, I will say I'll ding him for being in Supergirl, even though it was just his voice for one scene. But I'll ding him for that. But
He's
between
funny in it.
this, he,
He's not the problem.
he's the laugh. But between this and the studio and the Fablemans, like Seth Rogen is just making really fun choices, good choices, and I'm happy for him. I always enjoy watching him.
I'm pretty much exactly with you. Yes.
So that's The Invite. It's in theaters right now, and we both recommend you go see it. Perry, I'm really excited to get into the Odyssey right now. I was literally sitting right behind you during our screening of the Odyssey.
You were indeed.
We did not discuss our thoughts on the movie except to trade a few jokes via text back and forth. So I have
Yes.
no idea what you thought of the Odyssey. I know the only Christopher Nolan movie I think we've discussed on this podcast is Oppenheimer, which I think we both
Okay.
liked, did not love.
That's
Um,
fair.
yeah, I still have issues with that movie. I have not watched it since I saw it in theaters. The Odyssey is obviously the big adaptation of Homer's epic, uh, filmed around the world with a cast of, it seems, dozens. And whatever you do, I'm sure Christopher Nolan will hunt you down and hurt you if you watch it on a phone. Um, Harry, what did
Yeah.
you think of the Odyssey?
All right. It is hard for me to the most interesting way to talk about this movie for me is through a tourist lens. I want to talk about this as a Christopher Nolan work.
Okay,
And I guess I feel like we've talked about this, but maybe we haven't. So just real quick, for me, Nolan has never made a better film than Memento and
I
never
agree.
will. I
I
don't
agree.
think that's possible. I think it has really hurt him that he has seemed to have had a falling out, at least creatively, with his brother, who is no longer helping him shape his screenplays. Because Nolan, for me, has all sorts of problems that he has no interest in fixing. He is truly, I truly does not like women and is truly afraid of sex. He is not interested in people in general. He is interested in big ideas and in processes. And his ego is such that he's convinced everybody that that's important. And there are so many Nolan stands out there. I know them. I know many of them, and I don't share their undying passion for this man's work. That's not to say he's not really talented. So part of this is the pain of, wow, if you could let some of this other stuff go, I think you could I think you could finally make a movie better than Memento. I don't think you can, so I don't think you will. Uh, this works for me. It is doing two things that are of interest to me while I'm watching it. One is it pretty much reads like a sort of look at post-traumatic stress disorder. I don't know any other way to read the film as it is being presented other than to watch the fallout of someone in battle and away at war. Until you get to the last hour of the movie, in which there is a speech, and because I don't think Nolan is capable of subtlety, lays bare that what this movie is, and this is where it gets really interesting for me talking about it within the realm of Nolan's work. This is sort of like a do-over of the last hour of Oppenheimer. It is a film about how do you reckon with the fact that you have unleashed something that rips the social fabric of the universe. Which is the problem with Oppenheimer, in that, Oppenheimer does a great job of making you feel the awe and wonder of seeing the atomic test work, and fails spectacularly in making you feel the awe and horror that Oppenheimer is supposedly feeling about the millions of people that he's killed. That fails in Oppenheimer. Undoubtedly. It's not there. He can try to depict it. I don't think Nolan feels it, so I don't feel it. So he whittles it down, and instead of giving us 2 hours of the Trojan horse being made, which is what I was horrified this film would be going in, we don't get any of that. That doesn't matter. We are square on the other side of that pretty much throughout. This is about what happens after all that. That's really interesting. I cannot think of a time that Nolan has so directly addressed a previous work of his, let alone the direct previous work of his, as if this is still obsessing him in some capacity. That's interesting. I've not seen Nolan be that human ever. And so that's interesting. I like the fact that he might be questioning his own work in some capacity. That makes me happy. I'm like, oh, okay. There's a human in there thinking and feeling about their own stuff. That's good. That said, all the usual problems are here. Women are no damn good in his universe. It is too long. It is just too long. He cannot direct action. He's never directed action well. The last 20 minutes of this movie is a friggin' blur. I think a lot of big moves are there because, this is what an epic should look like and do, that waste a lot of time and undercut a very, very star turn by Matt Damon, who carries this film on his very large film on his back. I was surprised how much I enjoyed the first hour of the movie. I think it settles in very nicely. I like the fact that it's written in an utterly modern tone. I love that they keep referring to him as dad, not father. They're not even trying to sound formal in any capacity, which I liked. It's a really strong choice. I liked this. That's a really good idea. I started to zone a little bit during the first Battle of Troy just because there were too many shots of Matt Damon firing an arrow. I just got tired of it because he can't direct action. He's a terrible action director. He really is. He's a good editor. He's a terrible action director. Then, though, and this is what I couldn't wait to get to. I'm sorry, I've been talking for so long, Chris.
No, you're fine. You're fine. You're fine.
Okay, as my favorite sarcastic way to say this, the third half hour of the 6 half hours that make up this movie is the best 30 minutes that Nolan has ever put on screen since Memento. It is a section of the movie in which you get one of the great actresses of our time, Samantha Morton, showing up and telling one of the famous portions of the Odyssey, in a sequence that is genuinely scary,
Mm-hmm.
disturbing, and absolutely on point with the themes that Nolan has been dealing with to this point in the film, which is very much leaning into the sort of the post-traumatic effects of war thing. Um, he can't help but end it in a way that gets back to how much he doesn't like women, which is not to say that it isn't also a really funny joke delivered by Samantha Morton. Like I can almost forgive it, but I still know no, that's still you having issues with this in a way that you should get over, Chris. Not you, Chris.
No, no,
Christopher
I know
Nolan.
what Chris you're talking about.
Um, so all this for me was like this was I think it is more interesting than and not as good as Oppenheimer. It's kind of where I'm at. It's
Interesting.
kind of where I'm at. I don't like this still at the end of it all feels like no, you just wanted to make a blockbuster. And so you did because you don't know how to do anything else at this point. And I don't know what I'd love to know what he thinks he's doing next because I don't know what's left to do. We've built and destroyed the world twice now. What else do you want to do? He's in Cameron land. There's no connection to anything anymore. Other than what is he going to do next? And that would, like I said, that would be of interest to me if I thought he really liked people and was interested in them, but he never has been and never will be. So this is fine. I think it's an interesting film to talk about. I don't think it's some sort of masterpiece, and Memento's still the best film he's ever made.
I 100% agree that Memento is his best movie. I don't think there's a way to come around that. But
Yeah,
I think Memento, and I would put Dark Knight right under that. I love the Dark Knight. That movie just works for me. But
Dark Knight's Dark Knight's very good. Dark Knight's
Memento is
very good.
Memento's another league, and it is all the things he's played with throughout his career. It's, the
Yep.
man missing his wife. It is the fractured chronology. It is
And
interesting.
women are horrible. Yes. Yes.
They in his world they are.
All of them. And sex is very scary.
It's funny. Like, I'm also not a Nolan stan. There are some movies that I know people love that just bounce right off me. Interstellar does not work for me
Not at
for
all.
most of that movie. I the Prestige I need to go back and see. I think that is the one I would put fairly high on the list.
I see the one I like the best, and it's still got lots of problems. I like Inception. I think Inception is a
I like
very
Inception.
interesting idea that works in lots of interesting ways. If only he didn't hate women so much, it would be a better movie. But he really does. He really does.
With the Odyssey, it's interesting. I also have frustrations with it. The referring to Tom Holland constantly talking about his dad and his mom. Really, I tripped up on that early in the movie. I think by the end of it, I was like, whatever. And this movie is so loud and the sound mix is so deafening that I was kind of glad that, oh, they're just saying things directly and I don't have to, there's no part of my brain that has to filter through what are they saying. It's just to the point and I'm fine with it by the end. What you're saying about it is kind of a response to Oppenheimer. I caught that as well. We kind of joked about it over text, but the last shot of this movie almost feels like very similar to the last shot of Oppenheimer and what
Mhm.
it's trying to do. And I think this makes it a little more personal and a little more effective. I love that speech that Damon gives at the end. I think that's a very effective way of trying to figure out this whole thing of why is he not home? What was happening in the war? I have not read the Odyssey since high school. I don't even know if I read it in high school or if it was read to me. It's funny because the first hour of this movie is the stuff that trips me up the most.
Oh,
Um,
interesting.
I,
Okay.
I don't know how you do the Odyssey and avoid making it feel episodic in places. And so I don't fault him for that, but I still I stumbled over that. This is a movie that for the first hour is a lot of Odysseus and his crew land somewhere, get out, there's a monster, they run away from it, they sail on to the next monster that they run away from. And I was kind of feeling that at the beginning. Um, Also, I think the first hour of this movie depends a lot on Tom Holland, who I like Tom Holland in Spider-Man. I don't think he has a ton of gravity. And I think that kind of fits for who this character is, but I was kind of worn out by his journey to go see John Bernthal, ask if he's heard about his dad, be told nope, and then basically turn around. Um, but
Okay. Yeah, yeah.
but as the movie went on, those frustrations all bothered me less, and I actually really enjoyed the last hour of this. I found I think Nolan still struggles with. I think he's really good at big set pieces. I don't think close quarter action is his strength.
Oh, it's hideous. Yeah,
But
hideous.
by this point, I was so invested, and I was really impressed that Damon was, so ripped for this. That I'm like, oh, this is kind of interesting. And there's some humor with Robert Pattinson going on in that last half hour that I love. Just there is that he is such a sniveling coward, and he plays it so well. He was my favorite performance in the whole movie, other than Samantha Morton, who we'll get back to her in a moment. But I loved Robert Pattinson as kind of the sniveling villain of this, who is just a coward in this last half hour.
It was the
Um,
one thing I didn't talk about in my giant monologue about it. Yes, he is it's the best hissable bad guy I've seen since I got to go all the way back to Tim Roth and Rob Roy. That was a fabulous bad guy turn. If you've never seen Rob Roy, it's a very entertaining movie. Uh, Wildly historically inaccurate, doesn't matter. Way fun. Best sword fight I've ever seen in a movie. Tim Roth got an Oscar nomination for supporting actor. He's such a great hissable bad guy in that movie and deserved it. It's a great piece of work.
but no, I love Pattinson in this. I love Samantha Morton. That sequence with Samantha
So
Morton,
good.
it, I,
So good.
to bring him up again, it reminded me of something Robert Eggers would do in The Witch. It
Totally.
is, it is. I was really curious about this because Nolan is so obsessed with being grounded that when this movie was announced, I was like, is he gonna do even like Cyclops and monsters and stuff, or is he gonna find a way to make this all, you know, the real explanation for it? And I love that he actually no, there's a Cyclops in this movie, and it's played by Bill Irwin and a 60-foot puppet, and I love that he did that. There are giant metal men, there are uh sea monsters. I like that he did that. I I walked out of the movie kind of stewing on the little frustrations that I was nitpicking on. The one that really got me is there. I don't think Nolan totally understands how to write for humans. Um,
No, that's exactly right.
and there are portions in this movie that I understand are in the original text of the Odyssey that are character flaws for Odysseus. But throughout the movie, 99% of the time, Odysseus is wise and brave. And then there will be a stupid decision he makes that isn't a flaw that needs to be overcome. It's just in the moment hey, we should go on this other way. Well, I guess that worked out bad for us. Or the scene where the siren spoilers for a 3,000-year-old story. The scene where Odysseus refuses to put wax in his ears. Um,
For the
and
siren
it
song.
and it basically like I'm like, oh, his arrogance, his curiosity, this is a flaw he has to overcome. But really what is presented is it would really be cool to hear the sirens and then never mentioned again. It's not anything that the
Yeah,
script
it's a
deals with
bad sequence.
organically. um and I'm like, okay, so I walk out of the movie kind of stewing over these little frustrations. But the more I've thought about this, I've come away just, but the spectacle really impressed me. Like, this is a movie that
Oh,
just, I, maybe it's from having sat through all these movies already this year that are filmed on green screens, that take place in worlds that no one is showing up to shoot their scenes together. I'm like, you know what? He's going out and doing it elsewhere in the world. He's throwing real water at them. He built a large dam horse to tow around the sand. I would rather see that than 100 Marvel movies. I really found like, oh, this experience this is what I keep thinking back to is this is a really big spectacle that also has an emotional core. I think Damon is so good in this that he helps overcome Nolan's flaws. Like I always like Matt Damon. I think this is a really strong movie star performance from him that is physical, and smart, but also emotional. And that's where the grounding comes in. Is Matt Damon plays a really good everyman. He is upstaged by Samantha Morton and Robert Pattinson, who also know to put a little ham on it, and I appreciate
Oh,
that.
I disagree about any ham on Samantha Morton in this.
I think she's playing it
I
more
disagree
heightened than
strongly.
I think she's playing a little more heightened than, let's say, Anne Hathaway, who I think is also good in this, but poorly written. And her role is just angry a lot of times. Um, I think Samantha Morton knows to play it a little heightened in some sequences when she's, spoiler alert, turning men into pigs. That's got to have a little bit of heightened on it to make it work. It's still a very
Oh,
human performance,
I would disagree, but that's okay.
but
I think that's the so I like I don't have that reaction to Damon here. I don't think it covers up for Nolan's flaws. I don't think that it's the problem is that Odysseus in the original poem is kind of an asshole, right?
mhm.
He thinks he's better than the gods much of the time, which is part of the problem. That's why he makes these bad choices. But yeah, none of that is there.
Yeah.
It's the part of both Oppenheimer and Odysseus that Nolan can't get to because Nolan is that ambitious and doesn't want to believe he has to answer to anybody either. So that's why we're stuck with these things that miss the grand point of both of them that he's trying to get across. So I can't quite agree with that. I agree. I couldn't agree more about the spectacle of it. But for me, spectacle wears thin after all. I'm like, okay, great, you filmed it. That story doesn't work for me after a while. I'm like, I don't care more. Like that we get to the whole to end with the I hate the end of the movie. I'll be very honest with you. I really hate the end of the movie. Not just the last hour. I'm not talking about like not liking the last hour when you loved it. I mean, I literally hate where this movie chooses to end. I hate the big moment that Tom Holland gets during the action sequence is a moment that is truly uh utterly empty and cold emotionally and doesn't mean anything other than he's now not a wuss. I guess, which is a really not something worth spending 3 hours to get to. Um, I was really put off by all of it. All of that sequence. That sequence is awful for me. I really hate the last big fight in this movie. Um, and then I don't like that. Like I think it's an absolute cheat to end the movie where it does. And again, I'm gonna be kind and not spoil it. And I look forward to having this conversation with you after we turn off the microphones because I want to get specific with you about the end of the movie and why I dislike it so much. But this isn't the story he tells at the end is not. I mean, and you're gonna have this. We're gonna disagree with this because it works for you,
Mhm. Yeah.
and so you're fine there. It does not for me. It feels like no, this is how I have to end this so that an audience will be okay with it. Like that's just how I'm supposed to end my epic. It doesn't feel real. It doesn't feel earned. it doesn't
I'm
feel.
curious what we're
It doesn't feel
talking about
true.
curious what we're talking about the end of the movie without, is it that final shot or is it where some of the
No,
characters end up?
I mean the whole story. I mean the whole thing that I, I, it it is it is as it is exactly the same thing. So basically, let's put it this way: it ends like Dunkirk. Okay, that's the Nolan film he's copying from with the end of this movie. This is not a movie about someone who survives to go off and pay tribute. That's not what the story is. This is a story about a man reckoning their own misunderstanding of the gods. That's what this should be. And I'm not talking about to be the version of the Odyssey. That's what Nolan cannot deal with. He cannot, he does not, he is seemingly incapable of dealing with having to actually answer to a higher power. It's not in him to do it. It's why the end of Memento is great. That character can't either, so he keeps creating a world in which he's going to live in a loop. That's why that's a brilliant script and a perfect film for Nolan to direct, and why it's his best movie. But this movie feels like that's a cheap happy ending because he can't figure out a darker. It doesn't want to end it in any sort of darker way.
Okay. I will say there is a moment at the very end that to me calls back to Oppenheimer that I like. There is also, to keep in the Nolan filmography, there is also a bit of a Dark Knight Rises ending to this
His
that I
worst movie.
that I I totally agree that I don't like. And I think it's for the
Yeah.
reasons you're saying.
Okay.
There appears to be building to some sort of emotional comeuppance that does not happen. There's a cheat,
Yes.
and I do not like that. No, no, I agree with you on
Okay.
that. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. There's thematic stuff that he does that I really like, and I was invested. Um, Nolan doesn't always end his movies very well for reasons you are saying,
Yes.
and there's another boat that comes into play at the end that I did not like anything that happened in that boat. Um,
Uh-huh.
I was surprised how many big people he had in this. I mean, it's Nolan, so he can get people to come in for one scene. I thought John Bernthal was going to be a much bigger part of this movie. I always like watching John Bernthal. Um, and he he shows up in a horse, and then he shows up at a dinner, and that's about it.
Uh,
Um,
he is. I mean, if you've got a problem with the anachronistic dialogue, just the sheer appearance of him physically on screen is like, no, no, no. Nobody's nose was broken that many times back then. I don't. You're so modern. It's not. I didn't think he could possibly look more out of place in any movie than he did playing Lee Iacocca in Ford versus Ferrari, and yet this is even beyond that. I'm like, you don't look Greek. You don't look. You look now. You look like a mook. That's why I love you. I'm not knocking him. I really like Bernthal a lot on
I do
screen. Don't
too.
get me wrong.
Yeah,
This is not a complaint about him. It's just he is such a physical type that like I'm like, what do I don't know what you're doing. Yeah, you're very muscular. Yes. Yes, you're a tough guy. Yes, that's all you're doing. It's like watching, he's if ever someone should play Victor Mature in a Victor Mature biopic, it is absolutely Mr. Barenthal.
yeah. I appreciate him showing up. I wish we had more of him.
I don't disagree. Yes,
Yeah,
more would have been fine, but like, I mean, I'm laughing like that's just
yeah,
okay. Sure, yeah. I don't believe you're anything other than you, but yeah, let's do this. Yeah,
yeah.
bring it on.
Yeah, no, yeah, I really want to see this again. My son really wants to see it. I didn't take him with me to the screening because it was R-rated and I wasn't sure how it was, but God bless. I mean, there are so many bloodless deaths in a Marvel movie that bother me more because you're destroying a whole planet or mowing down people with guns than anything in this one. So I'll probably take it to see it on IMAX. I'd like to see it on IMAX too. We saw it 70 millimeter, which was a nice way to see it, but
That was good for me. I'll
I,
take the 70
I,
millimeter. That's fine.
I'm an IMAX fan. I love IMAX. No, I think for me, I actually think it's one of my favorite Nolan ones. I don't know that I could call it the best, like among the best, but it's one of my favorites. And maybe it's because it also, I think I can embrace that he did just make a blockbuster. And I'm okay with that. Like, I enjoy a blockbuster, but if you're going to do it, please use real people, please use real places, please, you know, do the work to make a blockbuster. But no, it falls below Memento and Dark Knight, and I think I have it just above Oppenheimer. I don't know what my third one is. I just ranked them. It's coming out on Saturday. It'll be out by the time this podcast goes live. But I forgot what my number three was. But I'm sure it's good. I'm sure it's.
It's
I'm sure
good.
it's
I
third.
don't I don't hate the movie by any means. I just don't like
No, I mean my third
Nolan.
choice, whatever I'm blanking on right
Oh,
now.
I'm
I'm
sure it was
sure it's
fine.
good. I'm sure it's a
I'm
good
sure it was
movie.
fine.
Um, it's gonna kill me. I'm gonna look it up after this, and I'm gonna see what it was. But no, I enjoyed this. Again, I keep thinking back to this is the punching bag of the summer for me is Mandalorian versus Grogu, just a movie that takes place in exotic environments and was filmed in warehouses in LA. And I'm like, Star Wars was the film that filmed all around the world in weird places, and now it's filmed in a warehouse in LA. And I appreciate that Nolan goes out and does this, that he doesn't use AI, that he limits CGI, and to me that makes the experience more enjoyable. The emotions worked for me once I got past that first hour. I told you that first hour for me, and maybe it's just because my wife and I had just seen this movie, it just kept reminding me of Monty Python and the Holy Grail. Just run away, run away.
Run away.
Yeah, yeah.
There, yeah, the physics of this movie is wonderful. The physical weight of what's going on in this movie is really great. Yes, absolutely. It's wonderful to see real practical things happening. Uh I always, when 3D had its most recent craze, the only thing I ever really liked seeing in 3D is actually scenes of water. I think water looks really good in 3D almost all the time when it's really filmed, not animated like in Avatar. And it's gorgeous. And this movie achieves what that does without being in 3D because they really went out on the water.
Well,
It looks great.
if you like 3D water, have I got a filmmaker for you, Carrie?
Yes. Yeah. I don't know. We're not doing that.
Uh,
I said actually have to film the water. You can't animate the water and then make it 3D. You have to actually film the water. See, that's how that works.
I'm also going to feel really stupid because I did just check my list of the top Nolan movies. The number 3 I had was Odyssey. So
There you go. See, it is
the
good. You
film we
said
were
so.
talking about. It is, yeah.
It's good.
Yeah.
It's good.
Since the Odyssey, I mean, listen, I still probably have this behind Project Hail Mary in terms of big blockbusters this year. And I definitely have The Invite ahead of this. I probably have The Sheep Detectives ahead of this.
Oh, I have the Sheep
Um,
Detectives well ahead of this. Yes.
um, but I enjoyed The Odyssey for what it is. I'm glad Nolan's making these movies. It worked for me. It worked for me even with its flaws.
I would love to see him do something small.
I
He's
would
not going
really,
to, but I'm he's so obvious. He's so obvious. He's never going to surprise. He's never going to surprise me. Although, he did for 20 minutes with Cersei. So it's like I didn't think you had that in you. That's interesting. Maybe there's life there. I hope there's something of interest for me in the future, but I never think there will be. I have my doubts with Christopher Nolan.
well, and there are a lot of, like you said, there's a lot of people who we know who think he is, the god
Yes.
of modern filmmaking. I would argue that I think he's someone who this is a pejorative way to say it, but it does sum it up really well. He makes films that are dumb seem smart. Um, and I think there's a lot of flaws in his work, but they're always watchable for me and they're always enjoyable. So I think I went into this
Oh,
expecting it's
not
going to be a
always.
Chris Nolan film. It's
Not always. I disagree with the always.
Dark Knight Rises and Tenet are the two I can't. That just totally don't work for me. Interstellar mostly doesn't work for me, but everything else I pretty much enjoy. So I think I did
Oh,
go into this expecting,
really?
like, I think I also went in expecting, okay, the Nolan fanboys are going to be out hard for this. I'm
And
going
they
to
were.
I'm going to have to be ready to nitpick this one. And then the more I thought about it, I'm like, I actually really enjoyed that. I really had a good time with this. I think all the flaws are there. I didn't care. Like
Yeah, I
that
think
it worked for me.
yeah. I don't think he can get away from it himself, quite honestly. I
Yeah.
mean, even the first hour of Tenant is actually fun,
Hmm.
which is not an adjective I've ever used for a Nolan film. It's actually fun. Like if he could be that loose for a whole movie and not feel the need to play some game with time, I'd be like, you're he is for me. He is whichever you take your pick. He is a much lesser Kubrick. He's a much lesser Fincher. That is those, he wants to be that. He wants to be the cold, clinical, technically perfect filmmaker. And I find him, as I find the other two, uh, often without heart, but he's the one who truly doesn't seem to like people. And Kubrick didn't much care for people either, but at least early on made some films where it was like, okay, you had a heart, you lost it. Nolan, I don't think ever did.
He's a clockmaker. He is, yeah,
Yes.
he's an engineer. And
Yes.
even Dunkirk, which is a movie I like. I like Dunkirk as a piece of craft quite a bit. I can't tell you anyone in that movie. I don't think there's a single character in that movie. I could just end it right there. I don't think there's a single character in that movie. Um,
No,
like,
there's the
but
guy in the plane. That's about it.
yeah.
Yeah.
And the one time he tried to kind of do the heartstrings movie, it was Interstellar, where all that felt way too gooey for me.
2000 Wannabe. Yes, that's what that movie is.
I mean, that was a movie that was originally going to be directed by Steven Spielberg, and Nolan is not Steven Spielberg. um,
No, and I don't know that I want to see that movie either, quite
no,
frankly.
I
I
think
want to see
we've seen that
Spielberg's
movie
version of
three
that
times
movie.
from Spielberg.
I
So
don't. I don't.
that is the Odyssey. Whether you agree with Perry or whether you agree with me, you're probably going to go see it. It's going to make a ton of money, and I hope you enjoy it. But if you don't, we sympathize with
It's
some of the
it's fine.
flaws.
It's good.
It
Don't get
is
me
worth
wrong.
seeing. I would say if you see it, go see it big, go see it loud. And do go see it. Like I said, I liked it. Flaws and all, I liked it. See it on a big loud screen. Get yourself your popcorn. You know,
It's
it's
good.
okay.
It's yes. I don't want to say I dislike.
Mhm.
I do. Like I said, I can only deal with this as a Nolan movie, and it has all of the flaws that I hate, but it's got some stuff I really liked in it, which is nice to see.
That's good. And pretty soon fall is going to be here, and IMAX screens will be taken up with Digger, and it'll be great.
Yeah, I suppose we need to have a conversation about that trailer, don't we? Not right now, but some point
Yeah,
soon.
because I don't think I've watched it with the sound all the way up yet. I think I watched it at work with my sound down or very low in part because
Oh,
of some
I
delay.
saw it in the theater in front of the invite.
Oh, really? I did not.
Yes.
No, I didn't because I was seeing Evil Dead Burn, and Evil Dead Burn got out like with the invite. Like I missed the first minute of the invite, so I missed all the trailers and stuff. So
Oh, okay.
I have not seen it on anything but a quiet YouTube. So I should
Okay.
probably give it a whirl. I'm not a
All
big
right.
Inaritu fan, so
Oh, I have said many awful things about him and probably
yeah.
will continue to.
Oh, I'm sure we'll have more this October. Hopefully we won't. Hopefully we'll like it because I do like Tom Cruise in certain performances.
That's the exact correct way to say that sentence.
Perry, where can people find you?
You can hear me every Friday in the Lucy and Lance show. You can find me on the podcast. It's clipped. My segment gets clipped as shows up as a podcast wherever you listen to podcasts. And you can hear me right here. I love how consistently we've been doing this year. Really feeling good about every 3 or 4 weeks we are back together.
And
I
we've
look
got some other
forward
ones
to
lined up.
yeah, have more special guests in the near future. And Chris, where can we read your amazing work?
You can find me at criticisms.substack.com. I am still got about a month left in my Summer of 86 series. So there are a few fun ones I'm looking forward to. Aliens, it is Aliens. I've seen it. I'm not really overly curious about that. But I might give Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 a whirl at the end of the summer to close it out. I don't know why, but it's there. Uh, with Dennis Hopper.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
so there's that. I have some fun interviews that are coming up, including one I might post in the We're Watching Here feed. I am planning to talk to a critic who wrote a really good book about very funny movies in the next few weeks. So look for that. I might post that up here. If not, it will be at Criticisms. And yeah, we'll be back soon. We've got some fun stuff up our sleeves. So, Perry, until then, take care.
Take care, Chris.